I see it on Facebook. I like that one rap song that goes, brrr. Most rap songs do that nowadays. Yesterday I joked about, I like that one Mexican song that goes, So, what's up, everybody? This is the Hake Report. It is 9:01 a.m. U.S. Pacific Daylight Time, and you can call in 888-775-3773. You don't have to watch online. You can listen live. You can listen live through the TalkStream Live app, talkstreamlive.com, or download the app, or the Talk Right app. I'm on there. So is Jesse Lee Peterson. Or you can listen through jesseleepeterson.com/show. Click on listen. There's a player there. There's also a listen line that may be playing it. And then you can also listen through the hakereport.com/show, which I put Jesse Lee Peterson's player there too. Nice, huh? But I'm also on all those platforms I just named. And it is Tuesday, September 29th, 2020. Debate day tonight. Nice. Exciting. Wonder how it's going to go. Anyway, I have a lot to get through. I want to touch on Michael Flynn. They're trying to railroad him. Bad, corrupt judge, I think. Black judge, by the way. Liberal. Grandstanding judge. Sick of those people. And Brad Parscale, I have some footage of him. His arrest, if you call it that. Yeah, he got arrested. The former Trump campaign manager. I don't know if the story is as we were told, and including what I told you yesterday. But I'll touch on that. And of course, I have some problems with Republicans, right? Republicans are part of the problem. I'm going to be touching on that. And David Hogg, oh man, some interesting stuff. So let's get on. What's up, Jay? Let's get on with the show. I think.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
Hey guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
So, what's up, everybody? I'm going to be watching the D Live Super Chats. If Jenny Crosby 2020 says, Joe Biden is going to come down with COVID in 3 hours. Interesting. Well, hopefully not, right? Shout out to Jesse Lee Peterson for hosting the Hake Report on D Live channel. Thank you. Come on over, guys. And I will be checking streamlabs.com as well. Streamlabs.com/the Hake Report. That's where you can give super chats. Since YouTube demonetized me, they say, oh, you're not allowed to pay James. Jerks, huh? It's all right. I will be getting to the callers. There's some people already on hold, but I want to touch on first this Brad Parscale thing. I mentioned it late in my show yesterday, at the very end of the show, how he was supposedly maybe suicidal, thinking about committing suicide, brandishing a gun. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but it sounded like this was all based on his wife's statements. At least she didn't say, oh, he pointed a gun at me, like one of George Zimmerman's girlfriends, who he shouldn't have been with. I think he might have been living with a girlfriend. He used to be married, by the way. Man, trouble with the ladies, huh? But Brad Parscale is Trump's former campaign manager. I mentioned this at the end of hour 2 of the Jesse Lee Peterson show today, a little bit more details about it. He was Trump's 2020 campaign manager. And he was involved in the 2016 campaign. He's worked for the Trump organization since 2011. So perhaps it's a bit jarring to his life to suddenly be fired, right? I think he's fired outright from any dealing with President Trump. I don't know. But, Drudge headline, wasting away in MAGAville. Cops release body cam footage of his takedown. And I'm going to show you body cam footage of his wife, who seems less than completely real to me. And supposedly she was bruised, and she said that he hits her. I don't know. And I don't know what she does, They don't tend to mention what she does or what the woman does in general. We know all about the bias against men, both forced politically, forced upon even the officers. And maybe the officers are raised and brainwashed, as many people are, to be like anti-man, assume the woman is telling the truth and stuff like that. And really, what can you do if you're an officer? I don't know. I don't want to make too many excuses for the officers, but they took him down. It wasn't too crazy. It wasn't too bad what they did. But it seems maybe they should arrest her too, just out of an abundance of caution. I don't know. But Brad Parscale, he's the guy that had that pointy beard, sort of trendy looking, 44 years old, white man. I think he's white. And he was, a website type of a guy running Trump's campaign. And people say that he wasn't doing a very good job at it. But what I heard was that President Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, was kind of giving the green light or red light as to how the campaign should be going. But things seem to have changed, and Kushner is still around. So I don't know. I don't know what the truth is. But let me just quickly show this to you. I want to show you this footage. See what you think. Here is the first initial footage put out by the Florida police, right? The police down in Florida. This was in Fort Lauderdale. Upscale kind of an area. Close to the beach, I think. Close to the coast. Kind of beautiful. I think, from what I understand, he was living kind of an upscale, flashy life, which may not be wise. I don't know. But look at this and listen. I'll try to describe it for those of you who are listening on audio podcast or audio feed. Here is this lady talking to the police, whom she called over to their house or his house. I don't know, whatever. They're married. Listen to this.
It's been a little while because he's acting crazy, and so I went outside to the backyard to let him just chill out. And he was just going irate, and he came out of his office, cocked a gun, went back, and was like, okay, this is f***ed up. So I went to the front yard.
Yep. Okay.
And then I saw him I was sitting in the front yard, I'm just trying to give him space, chill out. I saw him look out the window. And then I heard a loud boom.
Hello, Brad. How you doing, sir? Hey, I got him on. Hey, Brad. How you doing? This is Officer Scad at the Fort Lauderdale Police Department.
Oh my God.
You okay? You okay in there? Okay. All right. Can you do us a favor? Can you walk out with no weapons? Can you come outside with no weapons, please?
Okay, we're in 25 with this subject.
Sir, can you just come step out of the house?
Charlie 10, we're 25 on the phone.
All right. Sir, just do us a favor. We're just trying to check on you. All right. We'll just. I know. Okay. That's perfectly fine. But just do us a favor and just come outside. Charlie 14. I still have him landline. He's refusing to come out.
So I guess he was refusing to come out. He didn't want to go out. Does he have the right not to? I think he does, right? I think he has the right not to. But eventually he does. Here's a little bit more of this woman. And I don't know. She said that she heard a loud boom, like he shot a weapon or something. I don't know. But listen to more of this.
Went back inside, came back out of his office, cocked his handgun, and went back inside.
You got a lot of guns in the house?
I think we had 4 or 5 of them.
4 or 5.
Yeah.
Handguns, rifles like that, or a lot of handguns?
He has a shotgun, he has a rifle, he has a Glock. And so after he did that, I was like, okay, he just needs to, like, he's really getting out of control. So I went to the front yard, and I was just sitting in the front yard, just like trying to chill out for a second. And so then I saw him like open the blinds in the front yard, and then he closed them, and then I heard what I thought was a gunshot.
Crazy. She heard what she thought was a gunshot. I don't know. Who knows? But, oh, she said she thinks that he had 4 or 5. Police went into his property, and I'm not sure I like this. They seized 10 firearms from his home. Can they do that? They used the Baker Act, which allows you to, allows cops to take the guy away against his will, since he threatened to harm himself, to commit suicide or whatever. Supposedly. And so here is the clip of him, police confronting him and taking him down. Listen to this.
Yo.
Nice place.
I'm not trying to kill myself. Okay, come out here. That's fine. I'm your friend. All right, relax. What's up? Okay. What's going on? She f***ing... Okay. Let's stand in the shade. Okay, don't do this. I'm not doing anything. Relax. What happened? So, she started saying all this shit.
Hey, get on the ground, man. Get on the ground. Get on the ground. Get on the ground, man.
Easy. I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything.
Stay down. Put your hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back. Hey, bud. Hey, we'll figure it all out, all right? Don't worry. Don't.
I didn't do anything.
Relax. We're going to get you off
I
the ground.
didn't do anything.
We're going to get you off the ground in just a second, okay? Okay? You're all right. Relax.
They have him face down on the ground, cuffing him.
Here you go. Any weapons on you or anything like that?
Oh, wait, I don't have any weapons. I didn't do anything.
We're going to get you off the ground, boys.
You're good, bud.
Bring your knees. Okay. You're okay. Ready? Help us out. We're going to pick you up, all right? One is your legs.
Okay, yes, I'll get up.
Yeah, ready? 1, 2.
Okay, good. I didn't do anything.
So this couple, they're both in like bathing suits, swimsuits, and what is it? It's a beautiful September Sunday afternoon, I guess, was the 27th, right? Sunday afternoon. And she calls the cops on him. Who knows if she made him mad and they had some type of conflict. I didn't see bruises on her and stuff, but supposedly she had bruises and cuts on her. Who knows? Who knows? But you see him coming out of his, what is that, porch into the one of the driveways or the driveway, and they he walks up, talks to the officer, saying she's something. He seems to put a Bud Light can or something, I guess it's a beer can, on his nice truck, and is talking to the officer. Some couple of 4 or 5 other cops say, get on the ground, get on the ground, get on the ground. Take him right down. And whatever. They're going based off of what she told them it sounded like. Reminds me, honestly, of the Tamir Rice situation. The cops are told this guy has a gun and he's pointing it and brandishing it at people. Tamir Rice, the 12-year-old so-called boy who looked like a 21-year-old. Ill-advised pointing guns at people in the Cleveland Park. I think it's Cleveland, right? Cincinnati or Cleveland. Somewhere in Ohio, right? One of those sea towns. And they're told that it's a gun, and then the dispatcher was told by the 911 caller that, it might be a toy. But the dispatcher doesn't tell the cops, it might be a toy. But they're on like high alert. The SWAT team, is it the SWAT team there? Called to this Brad Parscale's house? And with the case of Tamir Rice, his hands don't go up right away. And they could have easily told him, as they claimed that they did, to put his hands up, put his hands up, put his hands up. And if you don't respond fast enough, you've seen footage where the guy's resisting and he's like acting pathetic, and then he pulls out a gun and shoots the officers. So they don't know what they're dealing with. But this guy is wearing like, he's gotten maybe fatter. So his what do you call it for men? I call it like bathing suit or swim shorts. There you go. I'm not trying to make it sound like he's wearing a bikini or something gross. Swim trunks. Thank you. And they're kind of, tied on him, whatever. And he walks out, and it's, I don't know, like, would you want to go out and talk to the cops? I probably would go out and say, yes, my woman's being crazy. I don't know. But they arrest him. And I don't know if he was able, as other people have been able to do, to deny that he was trying to kill himself or deny that he was trying to harm himself. She said that he was trying to, I guess that's all we have to go on, right? I don't know. And he was supposedly under the influence of alcohol in his home. I think that's legal. Some people say that he seemed to be crying. What a mess. But, to me, I see it as kind of like, this is part of the attack on men. And even honestly, his maybe not dealing with everything right in his life is opening him up to be treated not exactly well. A little bit unjustly, it seems like. I didn't mind that takedown. I didn't mind the takedown by the cops. They took him down, and he was clearly not even trying to resist or fight or anything. He put his arms up. Oh, man. Crazy. I think that he was a little bit maybe drunk or not that quick-minded to get down. He probably would have gotten down if it had sunk in what they were telling him to do. The police report supposedly said that he ignored 4 commands to get down on the ground. Whatever. Supposedly, they're alleging, I don't know who is alleging, that he took $40 million from President Trump's campaign and $10 million from the Republican National Committee, which the Republican National Committee, I don't think they should get any money. Well, I guess if suckers are dumb enough to donate to them, I guess they can get that money, but the RNC are betrayers of the country. Every bit as much as the Democrats. Look at what they did to Representative Steve King. It's ridiculous. Steve King from Iowa. I guess he's still in office, but barely. They removed him from his committee assignments based on him being okay with white people. that amounts to what it is. He's not anti-white enough. He doesn't scaremonger about Western civilization being equated with white supremacy. And who cares if he did anyways? This is America. I'm sorry, I thought this was America. Crazy. So, Brad Parscale, I'm not making any judgments against the guy. I don't know. I suspect that he's being railroaded a little bit by his vindictive wife. When I saw his wife out there giving these things with her seemingly plastic surgery body, that's his fault. But whatever. It made me wonder, maybe we didn't get the real story with this he was suicidal thing. I don't know. He seemed peaceful, but like he and his wife are having problems. And by the way, he had a child out of wedlock back in 1999. 22-year-old woman back in 99. He would have been pretty young as well. She was working at a San Antonio tanning salon. They married in March 2003, divorced in 2004. What a mess. And then he married this Candace Blount, Blount, in 2012, summer 2012. And I guess now, as of last year, they had 3 residences in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Yikes. I wonder, too, if people on these campaigns and associating with great people like President Trump and just being in the forefront and making a lot of money or whatever, or being around a lot of money, I don't know, if it goes to their head and they go kind of wild. Because I've heard crazy stories of people going to strip clubs, people having affairs with each other, having children out of wedlock when they're already married to other people. And the women act like the victims and the men get smeared. There's another guy, Jason Miller, who's been really smeared badly. And he did wrong stuff. He kind of gets what he deserves. Out of control person. He couldn't control himself. And he was doing some crazy stuff. And he was with the Trump campaign. Just ridiculous stuff that they were getting into. But it's like the man gets all the criticism, and the women who get involved with him, who are so-called professionals themselves too, which is a mistake, right? Get a pass or act like victims. It's pathetic. So, that's the world. It's pretty gross. But I want Corey Lewandowski back. Speaking of men getting railroaded, here's actually like a decent man, Michael Flynn. I'm going to talk about him. And the FBI, corrupt. Judges, corrupt. Even the DOJ that's trying to get him out of being prosecuted or punished or whatever is a little bit corrupt. What a mess. I'm going to touch on that, but first I want to get to some calls. Noah's Ark, Kansas with a diamond. Thank you, man. Appreciate the support. Thank you to King Alpha Nerd, Jib Jab, Hot Computer Smell, some little ethnic child, and all you guys over on Streamlabs. Appreciate streamlabs.com/The Hake Report. Awesome. Luis Buzzi says, day drinkers press 1, and I'm seeing too many ones. Anyway, let me get to Samuel in Sweden. He has an interesting topic to touch on. Samuel, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. And I'm hyped, I will be awake 3 a.m. in the Swedish morning and watch the presidential debate. So
you're hyped. You're hyped. I thought you said he was high. I was like, wait, that doesn't sound
I
good.
don't think I can sleep, but, I will be ready with coffee and, 3 a.m.
Nice.
I will live watch the presidential debate live.
Right on.
And, I call in also to tell about my Sunday stream and
okay.
I do it early because, and the topic of this Sunday stream, it will be the 4th October. It will be flat versus round earth, and round earth. I hope I pronounce it right.
All right.
And,
the flat earthers would correct you and say, well, we think the earth is round too. It's just circular round like a CD or a disc.
It's quite amazing. It just came up again, and I thought I'd make a stream where I dig into all the funny things about round earth and flat earth. Okay. And I also think I would mention the, creation or, the ridiculous thing with the Big Bang and everything was created by coincidence.
Okay.
Like everything. And what was it more? Well, there was something, I guess, but and then I don't try to convince anyone. I don't have a
Right.
agenda. You know, I'm open for what is true, and there's strange thing with everything, I think.
At this point, are you a ball-tard?
Ball-tard? What's that?
Ball-tard means that it's kind of like a libtard, only you're a ball-earth-tard. Ball-tard.
I never heard it. I'm a round earther.
He's a round-tard.
But you know what's funny? They say that gravity comes from the Earth spinning, and I always thought it fascinating because at the at the poles, the Earth is not spinning inwards. You know.
I thought that it came from the mass of the Earth.
It came from
just the mass of the Earth. I don't know.
You know, they in the space movies, they always have this spaceship circling, you know, having round parts to create gravity. So perhaps you know, but I will dig into it.
Yeah.
You know, but what I always thought anyway is if it is the circular motion that creates gravity, then why don't you fly off when you go to the poles? Because there's no circular motion there. But you know, it's many interesting things. I would talk about it. I may look like a moron, but I'm not intelligent, you know, and I don't try to be.
Yeah. Okay. Appreciate it. Thank you, Samuel.
Yeah, have a nice day.
All right, you as well. Take care. You know, somebody who is a flat earther told me, hey, does water stay on a ball or does it fall off a ball? It's kind of implying that the water would fall off the earth if it were a ball. But I'm like, well, hold on. Water gets on a ball, the ball stays wet. That means water's on the ball. It sticks to the ball. Interesting, huh? But that's just because water's a little bit sticky. FYI, and at a mass scale, anyway, it's kind of it's a little bit silly, it's a little bit fun, but I can only go so long dealing with that type of a topic, which is about that long. Let me quickly get to George in Greece, a first-time caller. George, are you in Greece?
Yes, man, I'm from Hellas.
Oh, wow. Thank you for calling. What's up?
Everything is okay. I'm calling to you to say a huge congratulations. Keep up the good work because, man, you cannot understand what we are experiencing here in Greece for the last 40 years. 40 years? 40 years, yes. 40 years of socialist and liberal policies. 40 years.
Yeah, you know, I heard back in like 2012 or so, Greece was bankrupt or something like that.
To be honest, we still are a German protectorate, to be honest.
A German what?
Protectorate. We are a vassal, something like that.
Oh.
They rule
a vassal state
economy.
under Germany. Wow.
Yes, our economy.
Okay.
Because, man, there in America, you have the Republicans, you have President Trump, you have an opposition to all the liberal leftists and all that communist crazy, so all this. But here in Hellas, we do not have even that. We don't have an opposition to all this liberal.
And you're talking about on the mainstream public platform of Greece, because of course there's individuals like you, and I think, who's that guy? There's a guy named, I'm blanking on his name, who I know another Greek talk show host. What's his name?
There is, I don't know what you're talking about, but there is one Greek patriot nationalist leader. His name is Ilias Kassidiaris, but he's creating now a new party to enter the house, and but that's not all, man. Because you in America, you have, for example, Fox News.
Yeah.
You hear some truth from there.
A little bit. Less and less, honestly, but yeah.
But here in Greece, all the channels say propaganda every day.
Wow.
And there is no one to speak up because they don't allow anyone.
Yeah. You guys don't have freedom of speech, huh?
Man, we invented freedom of speech, all this, right? And we don't have it here.
Wow. How far Greece has fallen. That's a good point.
Man. And even worse, our government wants to give half of our exclusive economic zone to Turkey.
To Turkey?
Turks.
Oh, yeah, because
they are traitors.
Yeah, they're trying to like be refugees or something, and they're on some Greek island, I heard, or something, and they're rioting and being a mess. It's the Turks who are doing that?
No, these are the illegal immigrants.
Okay.
Illegal aliens.
Yeah.
This. But our government, the Greek government, wants to give parts of this to Turkey. They are traitors.
Yeah.
With a capital T. But because they control the media, they spread propaganda all over everything.
Right.
Man,
wow.
this is like I don't have words. We do not have the right to bear arms. We do not have the right to, because we do not have a constitution as good as America.
Yeah.
We have like a European kind of constitution that doesn't have freedom of speech, doesn't have amendments. The government can change everything.
Yeah.
And then they are fighting, like if I say something that they call racist, something about Muslims, something about all the illegals that come into my country.
Yep.
I will get to jail or I will pay a fine. But if some of them say something bad about Christ or anything God sent about our church, they do nothing.
Are most Greeks Christians?
There is 90% of Greece is Christian.
Supposedly.
Exactly. But, and before 1212, that the illegal immigration crisis began, we were 98% Christians and Greeks. It was crazy back then, man. But now it's a shithole. Because although we had socialistic policies for now over 40 years or something, basically everything was owned by the government.
Yeah.
And still, everything is owned by the government. Everything.
That's a shame.
But back then, because of the environment here in Greece, we have tourism industry. We have our people had money. Now with the economic crisis, we don't even have money.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, man. Yeah. But it's because of the media. Because the media depicts everyone that goes, like we have a party that is so-called conservative.
Right.
It's the party that's governing Greece now. But they are playing the conservatives, the patriots, the nationalists, that they are fighting for God, for country, for family, to win the votes. And after that, they do all the liberal shit they want.
Poseidon is the other guy that I know of who's Greek, he's a D-Live host now. He used to be a YouTube host. He still may have some stuff on YouTube, I think. And he was streaming a little bit on YouTube, but Poseidon is another host on from Greece, I believe. From Greece. I don't know if he's still living there or what, but
I don't know, man.
He's talked about that. He's talked about the situation. He seems to be a little bit more into the white thing. I don't know if he's a Christian or not. I don't know.
Look, here in Greece, unfortunately, like the one good thing in America that happens now is that the true Christians remain Christian. Their faith is their strength. Like, for example, 30 years ago in America, everybody was Christian.
Yeah.
But nobody was really Christian.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
The same thing is happening in Greece. But you in America now, the Christians, the strong Christians, the real Christians, have separated from the so-called Christians.
Right.
And that's very good, because you can see who is with Christ and who is against Christ.
Yeah, that's true. Especially with people like President Trump coming out to the forefront. Somehow he, along with these times, are really dividing the good from the evil and making it very, very clear to even like normal people who aren't necessarily even paying that much attention. Making evil unmask itself. How old are you, George? If you don't mind my asking.
I'm 17, man.
17? Wow.
Yeah.
And how did you find Jesse Lee Peterson and the Hake Report?
I found it, I think it was Jesse Triggers Liberal, something like that. And I found his channel by that. It was a video. I don't think that it was from Jesse, but he was triggering some liberals.
Okay. All right.
And I found it.
Nice.
And I want to say congratulations to you both. Continue the good work, because you are fighting for the truth. And whoever, and here in Hellas we have, I don't know how it's in English, it's like a saying, whoever fights for the truth has God to help him.
Yeah.
Whoever fights for the lies, he will burn in blood. That's what we say here in Greece.
Okay. Nice, man. I appreciate that. You as well.
Man.
You as well, George.
Thank you, man.
Do you know anybody who's agrees with you in your family or among friends?
We have many patriots, but we don't have. We cannot show ourselves into the TV.
Wow.
That's our problem.
Yep. What a shame. Well, keep it up.
Yeah, man.
Keep it up, and maybe you guys can break that evil culture.
We will, man. We will.
Yeah.
With God's help, we will. Thank you again. God bless you all. In America, everyone, God bless you.
Appreciate that, George. Great to hear from you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. I know some Greeks over here in America. The first Greeks that I knew, they were Christians, like serious Christians. A little bit of an odd family, but what family isn't? And then the Greeks that I know who are on the major like have a huge platform, George Stephanopoulos and George Papadopoulos, and there's a bunch of like Greeks, and they're a bunch of liberals. What a shame. What a mess. Don't drink. I saw Louis, whatever his name is, say, never mind, I don't want to repeat it. But I saw your comment, man. What a mess. Okay, I'm going to get to your calls. Art wants to talk about Parscale's wife, which, yeah, let's talk about that. And they, another man, Greg in Arizona, wants to talk about communism. Quickly, let me just talk about this Michael Flynn thing. General Flynn, you guys know a little bit about him, right? He used to be, for what, like a very short time, President Trump's, I don't know if he even, did he get approved? President Trump's national security advisor. What a refreshing thing this would have been. I believe that I just suspect that they may have selectively attacked this guy because he is known to be a nationalist, someone who loves the country. He has a son, Michael Flynn Jr., I believe, who's on Twitter, pretty prominent as well. He loves the country, and he's been faithful to President Trump. You've never, in fact, I don't even remember really hearing this guy talk, General Flynn. So when you don't talk much, you have a pretty positive impression of him, right? But he is seemingly not a turncoat, but a faithful friend to President Trump, even though Trump fired him, and to America. So the far left, Drudge posted, Flynn faces a showdown before a judge over the DOJ to drop the prosecution. And this was supposed to happen over an hour ago, right? In Washington, D.C. or wherever, right? And this isn't the Hour shared a Washington Compost article. The Washington Post they love to kill America in darkness and bring darkness upon America. That's their mission statement. Democracy dies in darkness, even though we're not a democracy. But they want to kill everybody and keep them in utter darkness with their lying with their facts, right? You can lie with facts, and they do, believe me. So they say a U.S. judge will preside over a climactic confrontation in the Washington at 11 a.m. Tuesday. So that happened during Jesse Lee Peterson's third hour, right? Today. Over the Justice Department's bid to dismiss the criminal case against Michael Flynn, the former Trump national security advisor, who supposedly he pleaded guilty to lying to federal investigators. But those same federal so-called investigators constantly lie to us. They're a bunch of liberals. All they do is believe lies and spout lies. They're the same people who say, oh, white supremacists are the major terror threat. Lethal terror threat. Please. He later sought to rescind his guilty plea. And this judge, black judge, Emmet Sullivan, said, arguably, you sold out your country. Stupid. This guy doesn't know anything about love for country. I think he might even be an Obama judge, but he's black. And he's self-righteous. I think I found him on Twitter, and he shares a bunch of, pro-Obama stuff. Enemy of America. These are the judges that get in office, or whatever you want to call it, these positions. U.S. District Judge Emmet G. Sullivan. So it was the FBI who lied, I think. Didn't they, set him up? It seemed like it. And one of his lawyers was the Great. Well, she's a female, but she's the Great. Man, I'm blanking on her name. But she's a lady who wrote some books about the corruption in the so-called DOJ and all that stuff. She was interviewed a few years ago, maybe several years ago, when I was producer, by Jesse Lee Peterson. And there are other decent lawyers with Michael Flynn now, but he had other former defense attorneys who seemed to, along with the prosecutors, according to him, conceal FBI misconduct and coercion into him. Yeah, Powell. What's her first name? Sidney Powell. She seems like a solid, old-fashioned lady. Nice. Jesse Lee Peterson interviewed her. Check that out if you haven't already, or check it out again if you want to. I forget what her book was titled, but I'll tell you later. So an appeals court affirmed U.S. District Judge Emmet G. Sullivan, the black judge, his authority to scrutinize Attorney General Bill Barr, his controversial so-called request to toss the prosecution of the highest-ranking Trump advisor charged in the special counsel Robert S. Mueller III's dumb Russia investigation. Fake, which turned out to be nothing. It was all just pretense. Lying, and during the debates, I remember Hillary Clinton claiming 17 intelligence agencies. Why do we have 17? I don't know. But 17 intelligence agencies of the United States are saying that Russia is trying to blah, 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 interfere in the campaign. Never mind that we have enemies of America right here in this country, including those 17 agencies. Bunch of liberals. I told you about how the bunch of liberals are running the bureaucracies, undermining the president. They're supposed to work for the president. They work against him. It's crazy. And never mind the mainstream media that undermines and dishonestly covers the elections. and President Trump. 90-something% negative stuff. There's nothing negative to say about Trump, a little bit. The 3-star Army general. By the way, this, yeah. By the way, this, U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit directed Sullivan in an 8-2 order to act with appropriate dispatch. Tuesday's publicly teleconference hearing promised to provide high legal and political drama 5 weeks before this election. The 3-star Army General Flynn, 61 years old, a young 61, I dare say, looks pretty fit, has been awaiting sentencing since pleading guilty in December 2017 to supposedly lying about his contacts with Russia's ambassador after Moscow intervened to support Trump in the 2016 election. Pfft. Can you blame them? I mean, they don't want World War III. Hillary's not a sane person. Washington Post calls it part of Trump's effort to discredit the criminal inquiry into whether individuals associated with Trump's campaign cooperated with Russia's illegal assistance. So phony. Very phony. These people are guilty of what they're accusing Trump of doing. These very mainstream media peeps. MSM. Yeah, YouTube said, oh, that's an alt-right term. We should censor anybody who uses the term MSM. Reminds me of the ADL saying globalist is an anti-Semitic slur. Did you know that? The ADL is Jonathan Greenblatt. Okay. It's interesting how they just lie to us, you know? Reminds me of the past couple weeks, like I said, the FBI, the DOJ too. Well, the DHS anyways. Department of Homeland Security, the Federal Bureau of Investigation. These so-called institutions, well, we were taught growing up to respect the FBI. It's amazing. It's cool. Bunch of dumb liberals. Headed by the dumbest of dumb, James Comey. And then DHS, Department of Homeland Security, which was started when after 2001, after the September 11th terror attacks by George W. Bush and a bunch of dumb politicians. They're not helping us. And the TSA is part of Department of Homeland Security. the Transportation Security, whatever, advisory or whatever. Those agents who steal your stuff and, frisk you and things like that at the airport. Some of them are nice, but whatever. They're claiming white supremacists are the major terror threat. It's like denying reality. Reality, everybody's seeing on the news that they control. The enemies of America control the terror attacks on the country by Black Lives Matter, false smears upon police, just destroying any semblance of justice in the country, and burning stuff down, destroying businesses, killing people in some cases, and undermining the cops to where murders are going up and anger's going up. And of course, they're, with the shutdowns, it's causing a lot of stress. People are like cracking their teeth, according to CNN, because of the shutdowns. They claim it's because of the pandemic. No, most people are not stressed out over the pandemic. I suppose that there's a bunch of females and female-minded, scared liberal males who are a little afraid of it or like stressed about because they're judging everybody who doesn't wear the mask. So that's a stress when you're a judgmental person. But no, it's the shutdowns that's causing the stress. People aren't working when they're built to work. People are created to work. I mean, especially after the fall, right? Men are supposed to work anyway. And so it kind of reminds me of Prop 187, how just the people who are running the state undermine the will of the people. It's crazy. I'm going to get to Prop 187. Just to remind you guys a little bit about it, Prop 187 was a California initiative from, 28, 27, 26 years ago, We, the people of California, well, I wasn't 18, so I wasn't able to vote. And I didn't. No voter fraud here. Voted overwhelmingly to pass this thing. No welfare for illegals. No free education. No free health care, especially non-emergency health care, for the illegals. And violent commies, brown commies. Did you know that Hispanics are communists too? They opposed it. Also some whites and dumb blacks, including Farrakhan, who supported La Raza and cast it as though white people are not human and they're the enemies. I saw some footage, old footage from Jesse Lee Peterson and his activism and some Bond supporters who participated in this infamous July 4th, 1996 rally. And that's where they threw frozen Coke cans and bloodied the face of Martin. And he had a bloody face, and the Univision reporter's like, "Are you a racist? Are you all right? You okay? Are you a racist? Why are you here?" That was a mess. He wasn't the only one bloodied up. There were some old men bloodied up. One guy went away in a stretcher. And the stupid mainstream local media was like, "Well, you guys, it seemed like you guys were spraying pepper spray too." And Jesse Lee Peterson's like, "That's misleading. There's a couple of women who sprayed pepper spray to defend themselves because these people attacked us." Reminds me of what they did to the people in Charlottesville. Only they're doing it worse and more blatantly now because we clearly saw Antifa attacking the alt-right and the decent whites and decent American patriots in Charlottesville. And the alt-right and Antifa and Black Lives Matter were the aggressors, clearly. And the same thing with Proud Boys and Patriot Prayer. They're cast as the violent ones because they fight back when attacked. Or they defend people who get attacked, innocent people who get attacked by the scum of the earth commies. They call themselves Antifa now, but they're commies, enemies of America. Enemies of humanity, honestly. They just attack innocent people. It's ridiculous. And they smear them, and then they use these things like Asians, Latin, black and white, people, workers of the world unite. Doesn't that sound so nice and unifying? Oh, that sounds nice. No, they're fake. They're hateful, hate-filled people. Why are you saying thuggish, ruggish bone? Says truth always wins. Truth always wins is saying that. Let me get to Art in Ohio. He wants to talk about this Brad Parscale thing. The man who got taken down by the cops in Fort Lauderdale. Art from Ohio, what's up?
Hey, how you doing, Hake?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm alright. Yeah, I'm just confused that, all right, so the dude came out the house, it looked like. He clearly looked like he was calm. He looked like he was trying to explain himself.
Right.
Or if they wanted to check and see if he had guns, I done been arrested numerous times, put in cuffs numerous times, and been in numerous situations where I done been in situations with cops. So long story short, they could have came around there and grabbed his wrist. Why did that cop have to tackle him like that? He clearly didn't have no shirt on. So
right.
You know he didn't have no gun on his waistband. The shorts that he had on is the type of swim shorts that you could clearly see if he had a gun in his pocket.
Right.
You did all of this just because a female called you up and said all of this. Okay, so wonder if the gun did go out. How you know the gun didn't accidentally go off? You just went off everything that this female said just because she got breasts.
Not real either.
And he's still going. Yeah, and not even real neither. And I'm getting tired of it because it's going on still to this day.
To this day? Yeah.
To this day.
Man, that guy was in pain when he said to this day.
To this day.
Oh, shoot. But nah, seriously, though, or whatnot, And it was something else that you said. Oh, that was what you said. You said we got enough communists already over here on American soil.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Who cares about Russia?
Yeah, but no, y'all, I mean, we got enough problems going on over here with turncoats and traders, and they trying to flip America into a third world. I ain't gonna even say a third world.
Second world.
They trying to turn this into, a second. No, they trying to turn this to a fifth world. So long story short, I'm saying, why are you letting people come over here that that got the same intentions as the people that's already over here on American soil?
Yeah.
These Mexicans don't like you. They just want to use you for your money. America,
right.
Quit opening up your legs. Them Afghans don't like you. These motherfuckers just use excuse come over here to rape you, man. They don't know. You see what I'm saying? I'm not saying all of them,
right?
But a lot of
Obviously.
them come over here with the same. A lot of them come over here with the same intentions to take advantage, man. They don't come over here respecting nothing. They come over here and they think that just because they might work better hours, might have better jobs, they can look down on me. First of all, you ain't been in the same shoes and had to go through the. Long story short, check this out. They sent for Negroes. America didn't send for none of you. Y'all came over here.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So get it right. Negroes came over here on them slave ships. They sent for Negroes. Ain't nobody sending for y'all. Y'all brought y'all's butt across the seas on planes, came across the border, put your kids in danger.
Yeah.
I don't want to be my kids growing up around y'all.
And you know what? It's so ridiculous. They try to say, oh, you guys need to go back. But they're speaking Spanish, which means that they should go back to Spain, or or they should cut themselves in half, and half goes to Spain and half goes back to Aztlan.
Man,
I appreciate it, Will. Art.
Hey, man, and one more thing, I'm sliding off here. I love that last caller that Jesse talked to, that girl.
Oh, okay.
She was out. She was down. Now, she was just, I learned something from her. You see what I'm saying? And what she said is something that's very true, that a lot of these beta females don't understand, is that they're taught by these liberal moms that he don't bend down to you and he don't give you the world, that he don't deserve you. It's really that I'm sorry I'm just trying to emulate how they be talking.
Right.
Long story short, is really the girl's supposed to submit to do. The better that you treat the dude, the better he's gonna treat you. But if you got one of these beta dudes that don't know no better, that's been raised by one of these liberal females, he don't get that he don't get that concept. I'm out. Love y'all, man. Hey,
thank you, Art.
Bless you. Hey, keep up the good show, man. Hey, Jesse, the whole crew, all four of y'all, man. The specialists and everybody.
Nice. Appreciate that, Art. Take care, man. The specialist. That's a nice word for it, for the experts. That's cool. Yeah. Oh, man. Let me see if I can squeeze this in. Greg in Arizona. Greg, before we go to break, what's up? How are you doing?
Good. This is my second time calling your show. I don't know if you remember me, but I told you a crisis was coming, and you asked me what Trump should do, and I explained it. Do you recall that by chance?
No, but what did you want to say today?
Oh, okay. Well, this is a classic textbook communist takeover of our complete country. If you read...
It makes sense. I agree with that. Uh-huh.
The Color Communism and Common Sense by Manning Johnson.
Okay.
The Communist Manifesto, and then listen to Yuri Bezmenov, okay?
All right.
And one of the main...
I said, all right. Appreciate the tip.
Okay. And then there's a chapter in Color, Communism, and Common Sense. There's a chapter 7, which is called Creating Hate. And this was written in 1958, and then by Manning Johnson, and then a year later he died in a car accident. Okay,
interesting.
But he lays out the playbook of what's happening with the BLM and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And I personally think our economy is completely finished. One of the things Jerry Bezmenov said, and if you watch an interview on YouTube with G. Edward Griffin, is that one of the key elements is bringing a country to crisis.
Yeah, crisis. Yep.
We
break
are
the system.
Correct. And the coronavirus is exactly what this is.
Yeah, and it's not a real crisis. They're just working the people up into it. It's lies.
Correct.
And that's what they thrive on, is lies.
But what it's the idea of it is to dismantle our economy and have the state basically take over everything.
Yeah.
So small businesses, it's basically wiping out any form of competition that these large corporations have. So small businesses are getting crushed. Tourism is getting crushed. The millions, and the problem I have with Trump in this whole situation is he is not doing the right thing. And I said before, and when I called you previously, that what he should have done the first day he stepped in office was take a lid off interest rates and let them climb. Because him out there attacking the Fed chairman about keeping our interest rates artificially low is only exacerbating the bubble. And he said this in his when he was campaigning, that the stock market was a big ugly bubble, that all the government numbers were lies.
Yeah.
And then the minute he stepped into office, he completely did a 180 and said he believed in everything, and this is the greatest economy in the history of the world, which is complete nonsense. It's not the greatest economy in the world. The economy tanked in December of 2018, and if you go back and look at the market indexes, you will see they all entered bear market territory, and then he started criticizing the Fed, and then the Fed stepped in, lowered interest rates artificially, and pumped air back into these bubbles.
Crazy.
So with all this stuff combined into one ball, to me, it's just over. It's done.
Well, we'll see what happens, man. It's not over until the fat lady sings. I still think Trump is the man for the job, regardless of whether he made errors or
I'm
not.
I'm going to tell you why I'm voting for Trump, because I want time. Because it's either you got a choice between a fascist oligarchy, which we have today. You have the merger of the corporations and the banks with the government. The banks are all private. The central banks are all private banks. That's all out there for everybody to see. But I want time so I can get to a water resource and set up a homestead.
Okay.
If Joe Biden gets into office, we're in a depression, my friend.
Yeah.
Wait until next year.
I don't see Joe Biden winning, though. Who knows?
Correct.
Be prepared, but whatever. Greg, interesting input, man. I'm sorry, I gotta run off.
Okay.
But appreciate your call. Do call again. Take care.
All right. Bye.
All right. Hang on, Justin in Big Sandy, Texas. He wants to talk about the Trump taxes thing, which is a big joke, and he's going to help expose it. I do want to touch on David Hogg in the next hour, the problem with Republicans, too. But first, a quick break, and I'll read your super chats as well. Hang tight, guys. I'll be right back for hour 2. So, guys, we are back. It is 10:06 a.m. here in Los Angeles. This is hour 2 of the Hake Report, thehakereport.com. Get pumped for the presidential debate. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'm definitely interested to check it out. See Trump in action, take down Biden. Biden is really shameless and forceful, though. But he's dealing with a real man in President Trump. He's not dealing with Paul Ryan again, and he doesn't have the energy that he once had either, or the clarity. And he's just a plain evil person. That last caller, Greg, brought up, I think it was Greg in Arizona, brought up communism. And I wanted to point out that, I mean, it's really good versus evil, right? But people say, the intellectuals say, how can capitalists be communists and stuff like that? Because the enemies of America include these major corporations that are propping up and supporting and giving, the pretense of respectability to Black Lives Matter and Me Too and LGBTQIA stuff and anti-Trump nonsense. Well, I came across this stuff when I was listening to Bill Lockwood's talk show, American Liberty with Bill Lockwood, which comes out on radio and every weekend, right? And so I pulled up these things when he was talking about it. Well, the communists believe in something called, I think it's called the Dialectic, something like that. And basically what that means is they think that history goes from very low, up and up and up and up and up. Progress. They think we make progress. No, we don't. I learned in high school, and I think that it might be accurate. I learned it from a high school teacher, and I don't know if he's right or wrong, but I think that he might be right, that history doesn't go up and up and up and up and up like steps. It goes up, plateaus, goes up. No, it doesn't do anything like that. I think history goes like this, like a wave, because that's how life works, and that's how a teacher told me, and I just believed him. But it kind of makes sense, because it's kind of like that. Hard times make strong men. Strong men make good times. Good times make soft men. Soft men make bad times. Bad times make hard men. Stuff like that. Whatever. But you read the Old Testament. This is what they think. They think, it's an unorganized society. There's conflict with division of labor and private property, tribalism. And they have primitive communism. And then that comes together through the conflict to build an empire, because somebody's got to be on top, right? And then it's the empire versus the barbarians. The barbarians eventually overthrow the empire. And that's an era of slavery during the empire time. And then it goes to landed aristocracy, conflict with the bourgeoisie, or whatever you want to call them. I don't know what that means. And I used to think it is like fake uppity people. It's a black term. They call it, you bougie. But anyway, it's an era of feudalism. I don't know what that means, really. And then they talk about bourgeois democracy, conflict with the proletariat, which is a commie term. I don't know what that means. And then that's an era of capitalism. And then above capitalism, and what you should always be striving for, is a communistic utopia with proletarian rule and development of a democratic communistic utopia. And that's supposedly a chart showing dialectical materialism, which is Marx's theory of history. He was an idiot, right? Wasn't he an idiot? I'm pretty sure he was. An evil person. He was an atheist, too. And you can't be a communist or a socialist without being an atheist. You can be a delusional person who thinks that you believe in God, and be a socialist, but at least not this type of socialist, right? Not this type. The commie type. And there's other charts. Feudalism leads to capitalism, leads to socialism. And it's ridiculous. But this stuff is kind of being taught in public schools now. I think it might have even been tried to be taught in Common Core. I don't know if you guys know about Common Core, but I see this page dated October 12th, 2012, what it appears to look like. And this looks like it was a page from a textbook of Common Core approved, which was Obama's way of meddling with our education system, teaching that communism was above free enterprise and socialism above free enterprise. Yeah, with more government control and planning. Ridiculous. But this guy who talked, he sounds like he was right. I don't know everything about what he's talking about. I don't understand all that stuff. But I do tend to think that I'm fine. I would have been fine with the car companies being allowed to fail and all these businesses being allowed to fail. Call me naive, maybe I am. Back in the 2007, 2008 financial crisis, when the government, including Republicans and Democrats, supposedly bailed out these industries. But it's kind of like, to him who has, more will be given. And these companies have a lot of money, and they also have a lot of debt. And so they got stuff. Whether you're good or evil, to him who has, more will be given. It's just kind of a reality of life. It's kind of like people who have huge followings. They get more and more and more views. Whereas people who don't, they don't tend to get. It's tougher. It's more of a grind to get views with regard to like talk show hosts or whatever. So, just had to share that. Oh, by the way, he made the point that they are trying to put the system in crisis. That is true. With this commie virus thing, I call it a commie virus because it's more than Chinese. The enemies of America are exploiting the virus, and that is more destructive than the virus itself. Yeah, it has killed some people, but it didn't have to kill the economy. Same thing with this overwhelming the system with this flood of so-called immigrants. And then blaming the crazy system, blaming the system, blaming the Border Patrol for the squalid conditions supposedly suffered by these innocent illegals who are trying to come in here as refugees, right? Asylum seekers. So fake. They're overwhelming the system, and then they blame the system for getting overwhelmed when they don't blame the people for not letting them come across the border. We shouldn't have let them come across, you know? What a mess. Oh, don't drink. Instagram is saying, speaking of overwhelming the system, they're trying to do this mail-in voting thing and register to vote. Instagram is a liberal platform. It's owned by Facebook. They're promoting Black Lives Matter, enemies of America, enemies of justice, real justice. And they're telling you, oh, request a ballot. They told me, Hake report, request a ballot for Florida today. I don't know how, I don't have any type of thing that says that I'm from Florida. I don't know how they got that. But they're trying to get people to be registered to vote. The most idiotic people are always on Instagram. No offense. But the people who go on Instagram, most of them are dumb liberals. And Instagram themselves are dumb liberals. It's so fake. You know, I was looking at Prop 187. 61% voter turnout. And I don't know if that's high or low for voter turnout. But Prop 187 was a 1994 California proposition on which we vote yes or no. And it's no welfare for illegals. No free education, I think. No free non-emergency health care. No welfare services. And I looked at the stats. Prop 187 results on according to Wikipedia. Very reliable source. Not. But, you know, they have factual information. So, almost 59% voted yes. Over 5 million votes to yes to Prop 187. Yes, we do not want illegals to get the welfare. 3.5 million voted no. That's 41%. 51% to 41%. That is a solid support for ending the welfare for illegals. And registered voters turnout, 60%. 60.45% voter turnout. And I don't know, and there was a lot of media coverage of this because the media was in favor of illegals, as I recall. They have always been dumb, evil kiss-ups. College educated, meaning indoctrinated, enemies of America. And I grabbed a couple of screenshots. It was introduced by this Dick Mountjoy guy. Dick Mountjoy was a assemblyman, California state assemblyman, then later a state senator. He died in 2015. And there were some great people who were involved in authoring this, some of whom were interviewed by Jesse Lee Peterson on his 90s TV show. Barbara Coe was one of them. She has a write-up on the SPLC? Yeah, SPLC, you know, that communist organization. Accuse her of being virulently racist or something like that. But this guy, Dick Mountjoy, I knew his, like, grandson or nephew or something. And I went to high school with him. Interesting guy. But, yeah, I remember in the 90s, and maybe maybe not early 2000s, he was a politician. I would see this, you know, these political yard signs. Re-elect Mountjoy. Interesting name. One of the few white people at my school, my high school. But I took a couple of screen grabs from this Jesse Lee Peterson footage that you may be able to see in the near future. And these communists who are shouting, they chanted this dumb thing that I quoted to you recently in the past hour. Asian, Latin, black and white workers of the world unite. And they're saying, no racist love, you know, they're fake, stupid, hippie, communist ideas. Look at this sign. It says, death to the racists. Silence the racist voice. How is that for unity? Everything evil is good to them except for racism, which doesn't even exist. And even back then, there's like old-timer Hispanic guys talking about, we stand against homophobia. Can you believe it? In 1996, they were talking about homophobia as though that's a real thing. Cringy. And that was an old dude saying that. Death to the racists? In their communist font? Evil people. Outright evil. So I had to share that with you. And again, I have to reiterate. You know, Farrakhan? That's how Jesse Lee Peterson pronounces it. I learned it as Farrakhan, right? Or Farrakhan, or whatever. Farrakhan. Louis Farrakhan, the so-called leader of the Nation of Islam, right? And he supposedly stands against Jews, right? He hates Jews. And he hates whites, both. And there's some people that think, oh, yeah, he hates Jews, so he's good. Because there's people who really feel that Jews are the enemy of America. They're not the only enemy of America, these liberal Jewish people and the people who are undermining the country, right? This guy is saying, Hispanics, La Raza, and blacks, unite and fight the common enemy. He's the same guy he was saying that back then. La Raza, excuse me, those are enemies of America too. And he's saying that, you know, basically dumb black nationalist guy. But even to this day, he was saying, oh, if Trump tries to clamp down on the black-on-black crime in Chicago, that's really a race war, and you guys it's white versus black. It's a race war.
To this day.
That's to this day. Farrakhan is a hater of real justice, and he supports Black Lives Matter. And he supports the Women's March. And he supports everything evil. He may pretend to be for morals and stuff like that, but he's a simp for evil. And there are problems with Republicans too, by the way. Major problems with Republicans. I'm going to touch on that. But first, I got to get to Justin in Big Sandy, Texas. He wants to touch on the Trump taxes thing. Justin, how are you doing? Thanks for holding.
I'm doing good. I'm doing good, man. All right. So, you know, everyone's talking about how the Trump tax returns are a thing. You know what I don't hear the media talking about?
What's that? Their own tax returns?
Not that. Trump might have had tax exemptions, tax extensions, because he's a businessman.
Yeah, that's what he did.
He has tax exemptions, tax extensions. I don't even hear this on the right-leaning news. I don't even hear that much about them talking about how, you know, there's like a homestead thing where you can extend your tax, or it extends the requirement of taxes to later in the year. Then there's a lot of business exemptions. I'm personally against them because I want everyone to take advantage of them. But the thing is, he has them. And the thing is, if you look, a lot of business people, even with the tax exemptions, they still pay more. They still pay more because of the progressive tax system.
Yep.
And this is the thing. This is how I am on taxes. I'm not going to be a hardcore libertarian on this. I'm more pragmatic. I think everyone should pay 10%. 10%. Flat tax. I think that
10% of what?
Because
10% of what?
10%. Well, 10% of whatever taxes there are. Like, this is how I wish it could be.
10% of what? Or your 10% of the taxes, but 10% of what? Of your income, of your property value, of what?
Well, what I think it should be is a combination of sales tax and federal consumption tax. With sales tax, you just pay a little bit more from the dollar, and that's easy enough to do. And then a federal consumption tax, just, you know, I can't really explain it too much.
Yeah, I'm not that interested. You're going to make my eyes go cross-eyed. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I read in Hake News at the end of, I think, hour 2, he paid...
Self-published?
He paid $1 million in 2016 and $4.2 million in 2017.
Yeah, and guess what?
When he did those extensions.
You want to know which left-leaning person said that? There was actually this article that Rachel Maddow did in, I think, 2017 or 2018, where she was basically looking at those tax returns, and basically she was saying the same stuff. Why doesn't anyone talk about what Rachel Maddow said a few years ago when she said what you were saying, $1 million in 2016, $4.2 million in 2017?
Yep. It's crazy. I mean, they don't really care about telling the truth. They just want to say this outrageous thing. He only paid $750 in 2016 and 2017 each. But he paid much more than that.
$750, did he have tax exemptions and stuff? That's my question.
No, but he also paid $1 million in 2016 and $4.2 million in 2017.
Yeah,
and then
he paid more when he was in office.
No, but through when all that liability, it was eventually washed away when he eventually filed. Most of the payments were rolled over to cover potential taxes in future years. So he paid in advance and then worked it so that, because he was renovating the old post office hotel, which is a historic preservation tax break and all kinds of stuff. So
yeah.
Anyway, Justin, I appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
You're the 17-year-old?
Yep.
Nice to hear from you again, man. Take care.
Yep, I'm fixing to have to do remote learning again, so good timing.
You graduating this coming year?
Yep, this year.
Okay.
Hopefully I'll be able to walk the stage.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
All right, Justin, take care, man.
Have a good day, all right?
You too.
All right, bye.
Bye. Let me quickly get to Skip in Augusta, Georgia. He wants to talk about this nominee for the Supreme Court. Skip, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing about fair to middling. How you doing, James?
Doing fine.
Doing fine. Look here, what is your
You're coming in muffled, Skip. Hang on, man. Hang on. Fix his phone for me, man. Thank you. So, before I get back to Skip, a side note on this Sullivan guy, this Judge Sullivan, the black judge who's overseeing Michael Flynn's case. The judge is the one selling out his country. He is the longest serving active federal judge on the district court in Washington and a judicial nominee of presidents of both parties. Rhinos. Appointed former New York federal judge John Gleeson to argue against the government to preserve an adversarial proceeding. Because the government wants to let, the DOJ, Trump's DOJ, the actual decent part of the DOJ, I guess, if you could even call that part decent, wants to let Flynn walk because it's ridiculous what they tried to do. Flynn tried to plead guilty to lying to the FBI. Well, he pleaded guilty to lying to the FBI in January 2017, 24th, 3 or 4 days after the inauguration of President Trump. He supposedly concealed conversations with Kislyak, some Russian ambassador, right? Flynn supposedly repeated the lie to Vice President Pence, leading to the firing of him 3 weeks later. I wonder what that independent journalist who's been keeping up with this pretty well, Mike Cernovich, is going to have to say about all of this after this court proceeding is done. It's probably done by now, I'm not sure. So, Republicans, and then, Skip, I will get back to you. He's good. He's fine. He's fixed. But hang on, Skip. So I saw YouTube comments talking about we should deport Ilhan Omar. That's the Minneapolis area U.S. so-called representative. She's in Congress. Ilhan Omar, Somali refugee. And allegedly, according to Project Veritas footage and so-called whistleblower testimony, anonymous and named, say that she and or her associates definitely, and maybe her too, have been conducting what they call ballot harvesting and basically committing voter fraud in that area, using the Somali so-called immigrant community and elderly and women and young people, paying them for votes, grabbing a whole bunch of so-called absentee ballots and weighing the elections in their favor, right? In the Democrats' favor, including the brother of a city councilman. Muslims. Seemingly Muslims. They have Muslim names. Corruption is the norm, though. She's not going to get deported. She won't... Trump is calling for an investigation. But, he's the only one with any guts, it seems like. Even Bill Barr, I'm not convinced that he's for what's right completely. He's told the truth about the possibility of voter fraud with regard to mail-in ballots. By the way, Trump tweeted... I have this tweet from Trump, I think. Twitter, Trump, vote by mail. Twitter fact-checked Trump. It's a picture on the outside. President Trump tweeted yesterday morning, the ballots being returned to states cannot accurately be counted. Many things are already going very wrong. And look at this so-called fact check by the far left lying non-platform. They pretend to be a platform. They're a publisher, leftist publisher, Twitter. Learn how voting by mail is safe and secure. They actually fact-checked this guy, the president, who's warning about the possibility of fraud and things going wrong with regard to vote by mail. And Bill Barr has likewise pointed out that it's possible. It's quite possible. It's quite open to fraud, abuse, coercion, all types of stuff with regard to mass vote by mail stuff just being sent to anybody who's registered on the voting rolls, including dead people and people who don't even live at the locations where they're supposedly registered and all kinds of stuff. It's crazy. Basically, it's like Jim Crow against whites, too, by the way. Corruption is the norm. It's quite accepted, especially amongst... It's affirmative action for somebody like Ilhan Omar, who's, I guess, black. You call her black. She's African, right? Foreign Muslim leftist female. De facto affirmative action. And meanwhile, the whites get extra scrutiny. And the conservatives, the men, the Christians, favoring the worst people of Satan's world. The worst people propped up as the greatest. And I've seen conservatives who say that Bill Barr will do nothing about this Ilhan Omar thing. And I think that they might be right. I think they're right. I can't imagine. It's like imagining Hillary Clinton getting punished. She's not going to get punished. Barack Obama's not going to get punished. You have to have some cooperation. One man can't just make it happen. You have to have some cooperation in the government, and there's no cooperation. There's only undermining within the government. But Bill Barr, the rhinos, full of rhinos in the Senate. I know we have so-called Republican majority in the Senate, but they're not strong Republicans. The strongest is what? Lindsey Graham? And he's not strong. I mean, he's the strongest one with that Kavanaugh thing. He was like, said it real tough. You guys want power. I hope you never get it. As if he doesn't have the power to stop them. Jeez, these people are so weak. But that's society today. Would you be any better, honestly, you know? You're not in that situation. Crazy. After watching the police body cam footage of this Parscale incident, I began to suspect, his wife was evil. May have been lying about him. It usually takes two to tango when one person goes crazy, right? But it seems like his wife was maybe the more of a perpetrator than he was, but he got punished. And by the way, there's this white nationalist guy, alt-right guy from back in the day, Christopher Cantwell. I interviewed him years ago. Jesse Lee Peterson interviewed him and warned him about anger. Stay away from that anger, man. He's like, yeah, all right. But he didn't heed that good advice, and he got himself in trouble. And of course, a white male, especially not one who's a liberal or into the going along with the mainstream narrative, right, is going to get disproportionately scrutinized. Who was found guilty of a rape threat, which I don't even believe at all. He'll say some wild, crazy things, but I don't believe that he was worthy of any guilty plea. He's been called a Fed snitch and a neo-Nazi and stuff like that. A lot of conservatives, even people who used to be alt-right, don't seem to like this guy anymore, Christopher Cantwell, but I think that he's facing a bit of injustice, but he knew that. He knew that the world was set up against him, and maybe he shouldn't have gone out on a limb like he did. I don't know. I got to get to this David Hogg thing. He tweeted some ridiculous statements. But first, let me get back to Skip in Georgia. I got his phone fixed, I think. Skip, thank you for holding. Thanks for fixing your phone, I think.
Hey, can you hear me better?
I think so, yeah. Much better.
All right. You got to me too quick. You put me on hold for about 30 minutes, so I rolled in the kitchen, opened the refrigerator to get me a PBR out real quick, and right time I opened the refrigerator to grab me a beer, you put me on the phone. And I can't hear good. I don't have good service in the kitchen.
Oh, okay.
But you can hear me better now, right?
Yep, much better.
Okay. What's your honest opinion about this lady that Trump wants to put in the Supreme Court?
Your phone suddenly went off. Stay close to your phone, man.
Oh,
You're fiddling.
All right. All right. Can you hear me now?
My honest opinion, yeah, I do. My honest opinion about her is, I don't know. I'm not pleased with her pro-degenerate female talk. I'm happy if she's actually pro-life and pro-gun and all that stuff. I'm not happy if she's for allowing the enemies of America to continue to censor Americans, you know? By that, I'm referring to these degenerate, evil, disgusting social media establishment companies that are seemingly like aren't they in bed with the government a little bit? At Facebook and Google, Alphabet, YouTube,
well, you would think
Twitter.
So.
Yeah, they're undermining and meddling. They're worse than Russia. By far, they're worse than Russia. They're causing more undue influence to favor outright lies like Black Lives Matter. Outright lies. You know, so I hope that I heard that she's not going to be strong against them.
Well, let's just talk about her as the person.
All right.
She's a woman. She's a married woman.
Mm-hmm.
She's got what, seven children, right?
Yeah, 5 of her own. Yep.
5 of her own and 2 of another race that she had white guilt for, I guess, in adoption. I don't know what the deal is with that.
Who knows?
Which is going to cause problems down the road. You watch and see. But how in the world is this lady going to be a mama and help her children in the afternoons with the school studies, their lessons, cook for them, and do all the motherly things that she's supposed to do, and then have time to decide on major cases in the United States?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I don't know if the kids need help with their school stuff, but
every kid wants to.
I never got help from my mother. Forget that. I stayed away from my mother.
You never went and asked.
With regard to school stuff, No, I may go to my dad sometimes or have them proofread my essays if I had to write an essay. But generally, I try to just keep to myself. Children, I think, are pretty independent, and they're better off independent. But you're right. She needs to take care of that. She should be taking care of the house, and at least there, if the kids need a hand with something or whatever, a little extra feedback.
I don't know how she can juggle 7 children, a home, and
I don't know how busy. I don't know how busy the Supreme Court is, but I agree. I don't like women being in there. They don't. Even the so-called conservative women don't make good decisions oftentimes. They're female-minded still, a little bit. And this woman is female-minded still, not the good kind.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know it.
Yep. So I agree with you on that.
I looked on YouTube this morning when I got up, and a lot of people are saying, "Oh, she's such a wonderful woman. She's a brave, strong lady, and all this." And they're talking about nothing to do with her family life.
Right.
You know, I agree with Jesse 100% on that. The man, God of a man of a woman, and woman of a child.
Yeah.
The man's got the responsibility to go out and work. The wife is the homekeeper.
Yep.
You don't say that this day. You don't say that nowadays. You oh Lord, they'll call you all kind of names.
Right.
A woman being a homemaker, but that's what a woman is really supposed to do.
It's an honor, and they're like happier. The women who do that are happier. It's an honor. It's something to be. If you're supposed to respect women at all, because they say, "Oh, respect women," but the Bible says respect men, love women. But anyway, if you're supposed to respect women at all, you're supposed to respect when they do things right, not when they go out and try to imitate men. Anyway, go on.
It's not an easy job being a homekeeper either.
Right.
I know that for a fact. When I was married.
You're breaking up again, Skip. You're breaking up terribly.
When I was married, which was a long time ago.
Yeah.
On my day off, my wife would have to work, and I would have to do. I'd have to do her chores and her duties, that day. And I cooked meals that evening.
Dang.
And
don't say that out loud.
Well,
I'm just kidding around with you. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
I know, but really, that is a hard job. It's not an easy job to be a homekeeper. So, you give the woman the credit that's due to her. But that's what the order is. The man's supposed to work. She's supposed to, stay at home, take care of the kids, and take care of the house.
Right.
It's an easy job.
Don't turn them over to the government. Don't turn them over to these corrupt, fake teachers who teach them Black Lives Matter lies. Black Lives Matter. Yeah, Skip, I agree with you, man. By the way, how many children do you have? Or sons and daughters?
I got 3.
Okay.
I got 2 daughters and a son. My son's the youngest. He's 26. And they were raised good. And it wasn't from me now, because I was running them streets like 90 going north. My wife, she was a good woman. She raised them good. And I will say she pretty much did most of the raising, which is embarrassing to say, but I was wild at the time, and
yeah.
But we were there with them, and we raised them both, and she did more than I did probably. But I worked every day, and
nice.
I don't know, but anyhow, I just know that I think she's got too much on her plate.
Yeah, I think you're right.
To be a Supreme Court
justice.
She
looks like she's kind of haggard, frazzled. When
warm,
people have those eyes, something's wrong. Something is awry. Or maybe it's just leftover habit. Who knows?
How old is she, Hake?
That's a good question. I think she's in her late 40s, mid to late 40s, early 50s maybe.
She looks like she's been rode hard and put up wet, don't she?
Yeah, I guess so.
It's a rough look to be in her 40s. Well, look at here. Since my phone ain't coming in too good, I'm going to let you go, okay?
Appreciate it, Skip. Nice to hear from you, man. Take care.
Nice to talk with you, Hake. Take care.
All right. Okay, I'm going to get to the callers, but speaking of this woman, pull up this anti-Christian Biden staffer. I forgot that this was related to this woman. So, according... Look at this. Look at these tweets. This is a tweet from a blue check mark named Adam Wren. W-R-E-N. He said, and it's a quote tweet. Somebody said, wait, why is this news? But Adam Wren says, Amy Coney Barrett was a trustee at a South Bend private school that described homosexual acts as at odds with Scripture and said marriage was between one man and one woman. Years after Obergefell versus Hodges, or that's the same-sex marriage decision, that so-called legalized same-sex marriage, even though the Supreme Court's not supposed to do that. They don't make laws, but... and that's a Politico, I guess, Politico magazine tweet. And so this guy, Shadi Hamid, said, wait, why is this news? Isn't this standard position for any Orthodox Catholic, let alone any Christian, period? And this woman, I guess she goes by Nick, N-I-K, and her at is at rye, not wheat, R-A-I, not wheat. It's supposed to be a pun, very punny. And she's deputy data director for Joe Biden. And she's into U.S. and Indian politics. I guess she's Indian, right? And technology. Pennsylvania gal, I think. She writes about South Asian American history and politics. But she's a deputy data director for Joe Biden. Well, she said, whether to this question, isn't it standard position for any Christian or Catholic? She said, unfortunately, yes. And this guy, Shadi Hamid, says, to be fair, it's a standard position for any Orthodox Muslim or Jew as well. And Nick says, says, true, I'd heavily prefer views like that not to be elevated to SCOTUS. Wow. But unfortunately, our current culture is still relatively intolerant, which is rich coming from her to say that. It will be a while before those types of beliefs are so taboo that they're disqualifiers. And the crazy thing is, unless we turn this around, any sane person, sane men and women, whether you're Christian or not, that this is insane. To promote LGBTQIA stuff is right. It's not even, it goes beyond logic. You atheists, I don't know if any atheists are listening, to pretend to be about logic And yet if you're a liberal, if you're one of those liberal atheists, which most atheists tend to be, I guess, you support homosexuality. There's nothing logical about supporting it. It's detrimental to the person's health, and you think that you're caring for the person. It's crazy. And it's detrimental to society. That's why there's a whole lot of more sane side atheists who are turning more pro-Christian, even if they don't become Christians. They're Christian friendly. Like, I don't know if Cernovich was an atheist ever, but like, maybe he is. But like Stefan Molyneux, he's become more pro-Christian. And a whole lot of atheists are, I'm atheist, but I believe that Christianity has it right with regard to civilization. Duh. And this female, young-looking female, I don't know how young, but it's saying, it's intolerant. She's intolerant towards common sense and Christianity. And SCOTUS is the Supreme Court of the United States, a Christian country, founded by Christians. Every Christian, every Supreme Court member, I would hope, up until pretty recently, was not for the insane idea of creating a fake thing such as marriage being same-sex. Out of thin air, they redefined what marriage is. It's ridiculous. And she wants stuff to become taboo. And she's accusing somebody of intolerance. It's ridiculous. It's insane. But I just had to share that with you. That's a Joe Biden data person. Data director. A sick, degenerate person. Let me get to Conor in Atlanta, Georgia. Conor, nice to hear from you, man. Conor, what's up?
Yes, sir. How are you doing, James?
Doing fine. How are you?
Amazing. I'm amazing.
Right on.
Good to hear, or good to be talking to you again.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask. So I have two questions. I'm gonna make it quick. So I wanted to ask my first one. Were you there in the studio when David Pakman was interviewing Jesse?
No, I was out in the office, but I was generally listening to it out in the office while it was happening.
Okay. One thing I've noticed about what Pakman does is he often, and I don't know him personally, so I can't really say he's a bad guy or whatever. But
he's a liberal host, by the way. If you're not familiar, he's a liberal host who Jesse Lee Peterson has interviewed him a few times, threw him off the show once, and
I know.
On the Fallen State as well as the radio show. And then just recently, for the first time, David Pakman interviewed Jesse. Go on.
Yes. I saw the one where he kicked off David. Very funny.
Yeah.
Very good video. One thing I've noticed about David is if you actually listen to how he speaks to Jesse, he speaks in a very condescending, like, oh, look, look at this dumbass. Like, I'm talking to this really retarded guy.
Right.
And but he doesn't say it, of course.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that that's all the left can really do at this point is when it comes to strong conservatives like, say, Jesse, all they can do is be passive aggressive and act like they're better than them because they're deep down. I feel like as if they know that they're wrong, or I think they feel I think they know deep down that it's not going to work because Trump's going to win November 3rd. I know for a fact. I know for a fact Trump's going to win, and I can't wait for the debate tonight, where Sleepy Joe is going to get easily demolished by Trump because a lot of people were saying, I think on CNN, I think they were saying how Joe wouldn't be able to respond very eloquently to Trump when Trump attacks him because Joe's like such a nice guy and he's so empathetic and he's not a nice guy. He's just such a sweet guy. That's
such a lie. Yeah.
I know.
He's kind of even to this day, I think he's sort of a firecracker. He's more formidable than you realize. To this day, yes. he's holding, he's in the worldly sense, a powerful person. It's fake power, but it is, it's not that easy to deal with unless you're about realness. And that is what Trump seems to be. So I think Trump will be able to handle him well. But he is I used to think, oh, this guy's such a joke. But I used to think the same thing, and I still do, of him and of Al Sharpton and of Maxine Waters and of Nancy Pelosi. But they're still in power. They must be very agreeable in person, and they're also very shameless. And so they are formidable, shamelessly evil, right? Shameless liars. They have no problem lying. And there's a whole lot of dumb, blind people who don't have no problem believing those lies, right? And supporting them in their lies. So, yeah. But, yeah, I am looking forward to it, too. It's going to be fun.
But you would agree with me that someone like Pakman can only really be passive-aggressive.
That's true. Yeah, Pakman, he really was trying to make Jesse look stupid, but he made himself, he kind of unmasked himself as a very dishonest, disrespectful, has no common decency or respect for anyone, really. And you can say, oh, he was just playing a role to have fun and have this joke of a thing with Jesse, but no, he would love to so-called destroy Jesse Lee Peterson, but that can't really be done. You can't do that to God's man.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Interesting, man. Appreciate the feedback. It's totally true what you said. He's completely condescending and phony.
You should have seen the way he titled the video, too.
Yeah, I saw that.
Like collapses. Like he's very, Pakman, it just shows that he's evil. But
Right.
my final quick question, do you think that the tax returns, and I heard you talking about them a little bit before I called the show, but do you think that Trump's tax returns are at all going to have an effect on his win or his presidency?
I really don't think so. It's going to be another thing that the dummies, they've been talking about the tax returns and speculating about the tax returns, the people who are Trump haters. And now that the tax returns are out, they're going to start repeating lies like the $750 thing. Probably they're going to repeat that. But I don't think that it's like, oh, yeah, this is really going to be the thing that really takes him down now. They've been saying that about practically everything, you know? The experts say it's going to have no effect.
Do you think that Trump
what do they call
wrong?
What do you call you guys? The specialists. What'd you say? What'd you ask?
Do you think that Trump was wrong for not paying his taxes?
No, he was not wrong for. He paid what he's supposed to pay. He paid $1 million, and then he got that cleaned out by whatever deductions and things like that, credits. And he paid a $4 million the next year, and he got that wiped out. He had over $9 million in tax credits or something like that. He's not wrong. The tax system is wrong because the tax system is supporting a very bloated social spending. Social spending is more than half of our thing. According to Jay, who I don't know if he's still watching right now, but Jay formerly from San Diego, he sent me this chart, and they say, oh, defense spending is so big. Defense spending pales in comparison to the social spending. Social spending being welfare, and yes, Social Security. They're mismanaging Social Security, honestly. It's not that I don't want you guys who paid into Social Security paid back, but they are mismanaging it. They aren't managing it right. Would you pay less if you could in taxes once you start paying taxes? I don't know if you're paying it yet.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Do you think he was wrong?
No, I don't think he was wrong. I think that what the media did was, well, I asked you because I love getting other conservatives.
Yeah, I think they cast it in the worst light possible. Conor, I got to run, man. Good talking with you. Let's talk again. All right.
Yes, sir, James. Have an amazing one.
You as well. Take care, man.
All right, bye.
Bye. We're opening the treasure chest. Let me get to Mary in San Diego. She wants to talk about the Supreme Court. San Antonio, Texas. Thank you for the correction, specialist. Mary, you there?
Yes, you have a great show as usual.
Appreciate
James,
that.
I appreciate.
Oh, hey, nice to hear from you again.
Entertaining and so entertaining.
Cool.
And easy on the guys. I have to pathetic.
Well, thank you.
No, yes, she does not have a good history online. If she were so great, they would be taunting her wonderful judicial court, case history, and I don't see it. And what alarmed me about her, maybe she's okay. It's great that she's pro-life. There's millions of people that are pro-life, but they don't have anything wonderful to say about her. I mean, what can they say? Why don't they taunt her great court cases or anything else that's so important to us conservatives that would, make us want her as the next Supreme Court justice?
Yeah. Somebody in my comments section gave me this tip from Barnes Law, a tweet from Barnes Law, which is Robert Barnes, who's pretty conservative guy. And he said that she's sided with the government on almost every so-called civil rights case, which, maybe half of those are, whatever. Every big employer case and every criminal case, siding with the government even on the lockdowns, on uncompensated takings, on excusing First Amendment infringements.
That's scary.
So, and I'll share that tweet with you guys. Well, I retweeted it on my James Anton Hake Twitter account.
They didn't advertise any of her cases.
So maybe we'll have some surprises with the hearings in October 12th, I guess, was when they start hearings for the Senate. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. I don't expect our great government officials up there to do the right thing anyway.
Yeah.
Because they're so, I don't know what they are, wishy-washy, rhinos.
Yep. It's a reflection of society, honestly. People are weak.
Yeah. Yes, and when liberals praise her, that's scary.
Yeah.
When liberals
right.
praising her.
And they are.
What could be good about that?
That's a good point.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your show. And I did want to say about Trump, one last
Go for it.
taxes, about taxes. What businessman does not take the biggest cuts they can and doesn't have to pay a lot of big old taxes?
Good
it's
point.
the middle class and the small business owners that are stuck with it. And that's just common sense in big business. That is so dumb.
And that man, he provides value to society, employing however many thousands of employees and building beautiful hotels and things and places to stay. That is real value.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
So
he's like a fairly upstanding man. I mean, maybe his past for sure, he did wrong things, but he's telling the truth, and today he's for what's right, basically, for the most part.
Yeah, I have to give him credit about, he can just tell him to stick it, because who doesn't do that? And he should bring up other people that have done just as bad or worse and gotten away with it.
Amazon.
What about big tech and big core?
Yeah.
They get away with murder just about.
Yeah, and they're trying to murder the country, too. That's even worse.
Yeah, us conservatives are being blocked every which way, and they don't give a darn.
Yep, exactly. Thank you, Mary. Appreciate it. Good to hear from you. Take care. So, quickly, in the last, I guess, minute or less than a minute, David Hogg is a simp for BIPOCs. And I'd never heard of, well, I may have seen it. I don't know. I tweeted. Somebody responded, what's BIPOC? BIPOC is BIPOC. Well, B is for black? I forget. I is indigenous, and then it's people of color. Black and indigenous and people of color. Black and indigenous people of color. Whatever. I guess that's what that means. I suppose that they're counting Hispanics as so-called indigenous because they're mixed. They're part Indian and then part actual Hispanic. Well, look at this Twitter thread from David Hogg. Let me just read the main ones. He said, he's supposedly denouncing violence. David Hogg was like a 17, 18-year-old over in Florida, liberal part of Florida, got shot up by that Cruz guy who's like maybe a white Hispanic, mentally ill. He got off. Maybe he was whatever. But he shot up the school, killed some people, and this guy was a so-called survivor, and it was March for Our Lives. And these bunch of dumb, including like a lesbian kids, so-called kids, have been trying to get the Second Amendment taken away from us, right? So David Hogg is still out there, and he tweeted, he was denouncing violence, and then he said, quote, "The use of violence," denouncing Antifa, Black Lives Matter, especially the whites, "the use of violence to acquire political power is deeply rooted in imperialism, capitalism, and white supremacy. I personally refuse to believe that the use of this same violence will ever create non-violent systems of government that represent and support everyone." I don't think this guy was raised as a Christian. I don't know if he was. He has strayed very far. I wonder how old his parents are. He's, what, 19, 20 now? Maybe 21? And then he goes back and cleans it up because he caught flack for criticizing Antifa or Black Lives Matter supporters who get violent, right? He says, "Let me be clear. What I am not trying to do is tell BIPOC people," Black and Indigenous people of color, I guess, "how they should react to violence directed at them by the state," meaning like cops trying to enforce the law. "It's not my place or any white person's to direct or criticize the way BIPOC people choose to defend themselves against the violence from the state." What a kiss-up. Can you believe that? And he had a whole Twitter thread. It was just, blech, sick person. I hope that he wakes up and gets really embarrassed. Anyway, guys. Oh, Fabrietz gave a diamond and said, "Do you love the Latin people?" Which is a quote from the infamous Univision reporter against Bob Gochu guy. Cactus Eater Bear gave a diamond and said, "It's time for a debt jubilee." Interesting. And he says, BIPOCs, the standards, the S stands for simps. Simp means kiss up to blacks and females. King Alpha Nerd gave a super chat and said, "If you can riot and protest, you can get out and vote. I'm still amazed to this day that there is no COVID breakouts from the people that protest, as if COVID is prejudice." SMH. Also, Jesse said you were going to Florida, but will there be a show Friday? I will be hosting the show on Friday, along with these specialists here, experts. I believe, well, Jesse Lee Peterson will be out Friday, but he will be back for church. You can check out jesseleepeterson.com for details on his speaking engagement at the 21 convention. Nice, huh? It may be streamed and viewable for you to see. That's what I heard in church. So keep up by going to jesseleepeterson.com. TheHakeReport.com for my stuff. Thank you guys. Appreciate the support. Fun show. We'll see you tomorrow on Wednesday. And enjoy the debate tonight. Have fun. Take care.
Yeah.